Hello, I'm Al. Welcome to CiNEMACHiNE. I'm here with Ryan
Howdy.
and Brandon.
Hello there.
This week we will be reviewing Save Yourselves. But before we do, guys, how you doing this week? You doing all right?
I'm doing
there?
great.
Yeah,
How are you doing?
Doing
Al?
good.
Fantastic.
I only had time to do the laundry for this shirt
3 weeks now.
again. Yeah.
Yeah,
So sorry about that. But I did wash it. So
that's good. While it was still on you, you just get in
That
the
joke's gonna
shower.
fall flat.
Yeah.
Except for our diehard fans.
Fan. Well, Ryan, I think you brought this movie to the table.
I did. This was a Save Yourselves, a movie that
You had to save yourself from another movie we watched, which we're reviewing later. So yes,
my buddy Austin, shout out, sup Austin.
Sup,
He
212?
recommended this. So he's 2 for 2. He recommended I Care a Lot for me and Save Yourselves. So
nice.
yeah.
Well, let's get
I
into
guess
it. Let's.
that tells us what you thought about it.
Yeah, my initial thoughts.
Mhm.
Thumbs
Yeah,
up. I enjoyed
go.
this one.
Well, I mean, you had to get it in there before Brandon started his soliloquy.
Diatribe.
So, Brandon, what were your initial thoughts? I'm gonna take a break.
Well, let's see. I thought this movie was
The stage is yours.
No, I like this movie. It was good. I liked the kind of quirkiness of it. I love the leads. I thought that I loved the very less is more approach in terms of not really showing the creatures as much. They're kind of there, but you don't see them as much. And then even like the creature design is like so just like
So
silly.
awesome. Yeah.
It's got like it reminds me of like
it's awesome.
yeah, the poofs. Did you move that poof?
It's a poop on the roof.
I don't know. I thought it was just a pretty fun little movie. Enjoyed it.
All right.
Look at that. That was record time for
I
Brandon.
mean,
Record
fantastic,
time.
everybody. We don't have to have a two-parter for this one now. So this movie, Save Yourselves, was directed by Alex Houston Fisher and Eleanor Wilson. It is a story of a young Brooklyn couple head to an upstate cabin to unplug from their phones and reconnect with each other. Blissfully unaware of their surroundings, they are left to their own devices as the planet falls under attack. Now,
Al, what were your initial thoughts? We haven't heard your initial thoughts.
I'm taking care of business. So we had Sunita Mani or Manny. I'm not sure how you pronounce that. John Paul Reynolds, John Early, and Ben Sinclair in this movie. And this came out January 25th, 2020. So this was kind of right at the beginning of when everything started happening. So my initial thoughts of this movie were, I remember seeing the thumbnail a while back. And then whenever you brought it up, I was like, oh yeah, that's actually in my things I want to watch. So my queue. So it was something of interest to me. Went and watched it, and I enjoyed this movie. I was kind of nervous at the beginning, which we'll get into. But I will say this movie, the poofs are very funny, silly. They're silly, and this movie felt a lot like the 80s movies and just like the kind of kitschy movies that I tend to gravitate towards. So we'll get into it in depth. But all right, so we had our characters, Sue and Jack. They're in Brooklyn. They painted the picture of them being in Brooklyn very well. The people they hung out with, the way that they dressed and acted and things like that. And then they they take a trip out to the upstate after somebody just suggests like, hey, you should take my grandfather's cabin that I'm restoring.
To unplug.
To basically go off the grid, as the kids say. So this is a dream of mine, to go off the grid, period. So one day I just won't show up here and Ryan and Brandon will be like, where's Al? Doesn't matter. Let's do Cape
Cod.
So forever. So anyway, do you guys ever think about going off the grid is my first question. Ryan.
I'm there now, baby. I'm off the
grid. yeah.
Brandon lives off the grid.
Brandon is piece by piece building his own grid. So, Ryan, have you ever thought about doing something like this?
Ryan, we've been off the grid together a few times.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it is true. We've gone on a couple little Tybee trips where there was no cell service out there, camping trips.
So inadvertently off the grid.
Lots of and creatures trying to eat you, sand gnats.
We didn't tell
sharks.
Brandon that there wasn't any cell service, so he brought like his like charger box for his phone, USB charger for his phone, and everything.
And my guitar. That was the trip that I borrowed your waterproof guitar case.
Oh yeah, okay.
He brings so you've got a kayak out to this island, and it's basically you've got some pretty intense tidal fluctuations going on, so there's a lot of wind. And sharks. So he's got his guitar on the back of his kayak. It's basically just catching wind, so he keeps turning left when he's trying.
I'm just paddling on the right side the entire time because it just like keeps pulling me.
Anyways,
good times.
Good times. So yes, to answer your question, yes, I've thought about going off the grid before.
Yeah, I would love to go off the grid, period. So I gravitated towards that. I was like, okay, I envy them a little bit for doing this. This is a good little experiment. I was nervous. I will say this. I was nervous as to how I knew it was a low budget movie. So I was nervous as to how they were going to get creative about going off the grid. And, you're limited on sets. You're limited on props and just actors and everything when you have a limited budget. So, but I think they did a very good job of going off the grid and making it believable that these two people would do it the way that they did.
I think the chemistry between these two really made this movie for me.
Yeah.
I feel like it would not have been as successful if they didn't have that kind of chemistry.
Right. And I don't know, the characters, so on and so forth, felt a little lived in, like we talk about all the time. They both had their shortcomings and they were overcoming adversity and whatnot in a funny way. Brandon, did you go ahead?
I was gonna say I've seen was it Sunita Mani? Yeah. I've seen her in Glow. She's heavily featured all 3 seasons of that, and she's good in that as well. And the guy, he looks familiar, but I can't.
I know what he's from that you're not remembering.
What is it?
Think Netflix shows.
I don't know. Just tell me.
It's your favorite Netflix show, Brandon. Stranger Things.
He's in Stranger Things? Who is he?
Yeah, he plays Officer Callahan.
Okay. Makes sense. Well,
right.
The mustache just conceals his identity pretty easily.
And I'm just going to put it out there. That's his real haircut.
He was in, so the show that I had seen him in, I told Al, it was a show that like Katie had on that I was just out in the living room watching with her, 4 Weddings and a Funeral. He plays Duffy in that. And he was good in that too. He kind of plays the same character.
Yeah.
Kind of ditzy-ish.
Yeah. I liked his delivery. And my favorite part of this movie, I guess there's 3 times it happens, I think, is when he has his night visions.
Yes. Yeah.
He's like, get out of here. Whatever he does. It's so great.
Yeah.
It's very like Will Ferrell in delivery.
Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of. I can see that. Yeah,
It's really funny though.
I'm not gonna lie. When he had his little confession about not like doing man things, I kind of
Yeah.
thought of you,
That's
Brandon.
what I wrote down too. He said, I wrote it down as a note. I don't know how to be a man.
I don't know. My brother just picked all this other stuff up, and I just never like. It's like,
Yeah,
did
and
Brandon
that's-
write this?
That was one of the reasons I like this movie, is because he was on my nerves as like being such a simp and things like that. And then he admitted to being a simp and not being able to like partake in, like, he didn't know how to protect anybody. He didn't know how to chop the wood. He didn't know how to fix the car. He didn't, all those things.
I love he took his shirt off and used it as his like ear protection before he shot the gun. You should probably do this too.
So there were so many things wrong with when they tried to fire that gun off. I was like, "This, his
I love
glasses are
that.
gonna break."
I love that conversation where she's like, they're obviously not gun people,
Yeah.
and they have this back and forth, and then she's like, "But we could just maybe use the gun if
Yeah.
there's aliens running at us."
Yeah,
And they could have done that whole part where he went down to the basement to get the gun and everything. They could have done that so poorly. They could have done that to where, like the poof comes out and grabs him and holds him, and it could have been so silly, like so poorly done. But I think that they kept the tension, as much tension as you possibly could in a slapstick comedy like this. But I really did enjoy the way that, I'm not saying this is a perfect movie by any stretch of the imagination. I'm saying there are flaws, but with a good story, with good execution, you can overlook the flaws of any movie, is the way I look at it. So,
I don't really see obviously not a perfect movie, but I don't really see like a lot of flaws with it. Like that I had to overlook, I guess.
I'm saying, I'm not saying that you really have to overlook anything. I'm just saying that it's not like, there's definitely
he just doesn't want to
holes
be
and
too
things like
positive
that.
about it.
That's not it.
Gotta be a little bit negative.
That's not it. But I'm just saying there's obviously potholes here and there that you can, but the thing is that they had a good little story. They executed it well. The poofs were adorable. At
This
first,
movie is like a mix of like Tucker and Dale,
and Dale,
Into the Effing World, and like Gremlins. Grimlm.
Gremlins.
I rewound it because Katie had walked out of the room when he goes to like pick up the poof with the fire log things.
Oh, yeah.
And the thing shoots out, and then it shoots out again. It flies out the window, and they just show him, and he's like, "What the bleep was that?"
I was nervous. So early on in the movie, his friend that ultimately loans them the cabin, he had been on an adventure or some kind of vacation, or just, kind of, he's like a Rolling Stone type person.
I think he's like a free-spirited type.
Yeah.
Quit his
so
job
and so he comes in and he says, "Hey, I got you something." And he just happens to have this crystal on him that he got for him, and he gives it to him. And I'm like, all right, that's like, so the aliens, the poofs, are constantly like killing everybody else, but they're not killing them. And they're on the wall, they're on the roof, they're on the ceiling, they're everywhere, but they're not doing anything to them. So I'm like, oh my God, is that crystal gonna play in to the end of this movie, to where it's like, I have the crystal and and they didn't do that. So I was pleasantly surprised by that. He even said he's trying to stab the little tentacle tongue thing with it, and he's like, ugh, and he throws the crystal away, and it goes away. So, But yeah, I thought this movie was silly. It was fun, and I had a good time watching. I'm not gonna say I laughed like hysterically, but this movie was pretty funny.
I love how brutal they made the poofs. Like the
Yeah.
tongues would just fly out and just like rip
Yeah,
through people.
especially when they meet the people on the road in the truck. And
I
they
still
just get like John Wicked in the middle of the road by this poof.
yeah. Well, I think the weirdest thing about this movie was, like one of the things I said you could nitpick this movie to death was that whole scene where they are out there in the road and the two people get killed and they have the baby in the back. They're in a car with their windows partially up, and then there's another car with their windows rolled all the way up, and that they can hear a baby crying and stuff like that, which that's perfectly fine, whatever. But then the lady is in the back of that truck and gets out and steals their Land Rover, which that was a super old Land Rover, steals their Land Rover. And I still don't understand why they couldn't have gone with her. Like, why that lady was so persistent on like, no, you cannot go. And like, I'm taking your Land Rover and stuff. I think it would have been hilarious. And now they did explain it away. That was a good explanation. It's diesel. So that poofs don't want that gas because it's not ethanol. But I do think it would have been funny if you just saw that Land Rover just kind of like rolling down the street, like the poofs got in there and killed the lady and got revenge or whatever. But it's neither here nor there. But no, I thought this movie was fun, like I said. So
that sequence was great where they basically like it like starts like floating in front of them or whatever and like farts on them.
Yeah.
And
then
like,
they have the LSD trip.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have the big trip. That was pretty funny. And I thought they executed that pretty well. You could tell exactly what was happening and everything. But what's kind of crazy is like they answered the questions like you were asking, like, where's the baby? Where's the baby? And then they're like, where's the baby? So like it's not like they were just like, oh, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I thought this movie was good. Brandon, you want to add anything there?
What do you guys think about the ending? Like, did y'all think that they were gonna like kill this baby? Actually like the baby either they were gonna leave the baby or that the baby was gonna somehow they were all gonna die. Like I was like waiting for I was like, I'm sure they're not, I hope they're not gonna do this, but that little like crystal thing that brings them up in the air, and the last scene was just gonna be them like dropping like I was like, surely they're not gonna do that.
Yeah, at first I was like, is the crystal like vessel, is that the crystal that he threw behind him and like it became that? I don't think that's what happened, but that was my first inclination. But yeah, I wasn't sure what was going to happen when they started floating up in the sky. And again, great execution on that as well. And then you see the hundreds of them up in the sky. I was like, wow, okay, so they're just basically this is basically like the better version of
going to get probed.
Alien Covenant. It's like like I mean, they're bringing children, everybody up there. So
one last question for you guys. Did either of your echoes start playing Whitney Houston during this movie? Because mine did.
Yes, it did. Yeah.
I don't have any of that stuff in my house, but yeah.
And it totally irritated me too. I hate when that happens when I'm watching something.
Sorry, I couldn't understand that.
I was honestly surprised that he actually said the brand names out loud, because people always try to make up their own, because I think you have to have
or they kind of like mute the command words a little bit so that it doesn't initiate people's devices.
Well, I think you have to pay for the rights to say it in the movie. So if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, please. But
I don't know if you can do it with Alexa, such a common name. I don't think you could do that. Maybe OK Google.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see if this
And
video gets taken down.
Siri.
Yeah.
Let's
So,
try it. Hang on one second. Hang on one second. Alexa, add CiNEMACHiNE to my playlist.
Good one. Good one. Subscribe. So have you tried to
I've added CiNEMAChine to your grocery list.
What were you gonna say, Ryan?
No, I was saying, have either of you tried to eat your contact lenses since this episode?
No, that was such a strange confession. I was like,
made that up just to like have something to say to him. I was wondering if that was going to be like.
I thought it was great. She was like, and now I'm kind of worried about it because. It's awesome.
Yeah. No, I don't have contacts, so.
Yeah, I don't either.
No.
I'm a glasses man.
Eat those.
So the one part when the friend, and when they do get back on their phones, the friend, you know, the mom. So the mom that was on the phone and everything for Jack's mom was Amy Sedaris.
Yeah.
So I saw her name at the beginning of the movie. I was like, oh, okay, cool. I like her. So,
yeah, I did too. And then I was like, where was she in this movie?
Yeah.
But yeah.
So she was the mom. And I really liked the phone stuff, like the moms and everything. I thought that was really good and well done, because that's what moms would be saying. Like, I'm watching Fox and Friends, and you know, like, but no, when the friend Raph, is that his name, comes up to visit them, because he says, I'm going to come up to the cabin. It's really crazy out here in the city. He's there, and he gets poofed in the head, and he's just dead. And
is he the one that they run over?
Yeah,
later?
they pay it off.
Yeah,
they pay it off when they're like, "What is this?" You know.
Yeah.
And you know, they make the stupid decisions in this movie to like run to the barn, and it was very convenient that there was a Land Rover in there with that much.
I love how they were like timing how fast they could get out of the place with like getting that stuff out of the fridge and stuff. Like,
they were
non-essentials. Like,
they were more concerned about go bags, as they called them, than they were anything else. Oh, our go bags! Like when the lady stole the car, they were so upset that their go bags, and they were willing to risk their lives for go bags to go back into the house. So, yeah, and the way that they just showed the simplicity of the little hole on the side of the car where the poofs like pierced it to get the ethanol out of there, the gas or whatever. I thought that was pretty smart. So
a lot of simple, like economical storytelling devices.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you could see their budget on the screen. I liked how choppy the poofs moved. You know, they didn't move very fluid. Like when the purple one appeared on the roof and then just disappeared.
I was wondering how, like, that the sourdough starter was like such a thing they talked about. I was wondering how that was going to tie into the story.
My God, that man was. So, the comedian Tom Papa is way into sourdough bread, so I think he's got a show dedicated to it now. So, yeah, there's people that are devoted to that. So I bought into that too. He was way too into the bread. So, but anyway, what was it? They were going through their kitchen, their refrigerator, and it sounded like the most pretentious shopping list I've ever heard in my life. It was like,
all perishables.
Yeah, he says like,
what have got any non-perishables?
Non-perishables.
Yeah. So, I would like it. I think it would be funny if, as a special feature or maybe a tack on to this, what their lives were like, a little 10-minute YouTube video or something, like what their lives were like after all of this. Like, just even if it's just an interview all through dialogue, I'd like to see that. But But anyway, yeah, this is a silly little movie. I guess we can get into, unless anybody has anything else to add. Anything?
I'm good.
Okay. Ryan, this was
That
your pick.
Brandon?
Ryan, this was your movie. Would you buy it, skip it, stream it? What would you do?
I would totally buy this movie if it was physical. I just feel like
they put all these things on physical, Ryan, so you'll be able to buy it.
Here we go again.
They do.
This is just one of those that, like, if you had people over and wanted to watch a comedy that people probably haven't seen that's quality, something you could pop in. And I feel like I've wanted to us talking about it makes me want to rewatch it. So I feel like it's got a good shot at good rewatchability. So I'd buy it.
Yeah.
Well, I do have some good news for you. It is on Blu-ray.
Hey,
It comes with a digital code, and you get some free little gifts with the special edition. So
excellent.
yeah.
Ooh, little gifts.
You can get a little mask, and I think it'd be really funny if it came with a poof.
That'd be terrifying.
A little poof keychain.
You know those little pencils that folks would have back in the day with, like, the little, not the troll, but the little furry thing on top? It could easily have a little poof keychain like that. Yeah. Basically a rabbit's foot. So you can buy it. So there you go. Once again, Brandon has been proven incorrect. So Brandon, so Brandon, what would you do? Buy, sell, trade, burn it, flip it, and reverse it? What would you do?
I'd buy it. I'd like to watch it again. I mean, I'm going to watch it again with Melissa because she didn't finish it. But yeah,
Center.
it's a good. I mean, I don't know if it's one that I would like make a like intently like go down watch it in the theater type thing. I'd probably put it on like in the background a good bit. It's a good. I feel like it's a good like just like background movie. And I don't mean that in a negative way. So yeah, I'd buy it.
Yeah, that was fun.
I would definitely recommend anybody stream it that has Hulu for sure.
Yeah, I would actually take this movie to movie club, so I'd probably buy it so we could watch it. I think I would like to watch this with other folks to see kind of how they react to it. That's kind of the whole story behind my movie club. So, I think it would be fun, but I would buy it. I would definitely buy it. And if you can hear us out there, we want some poofs. So,
cheesy poofs.
When they said poof on the roof, I felt like they were kind of like grinning, like, yeah, we came up with that. Yeah, that was a good one. Well,
and for anybody else that hasn't seen Tucker and Dale versus Evil or Into the Effing World on Netflix, definitely watch those. If you like this, you'll like those.
Yeah, this is a good double feature with Tucker and Dale. And then if you really just have that same kind of energy, wanting to see something similar, definitely End of the Effing World. It's really good. Saw you skating. Yeah. Brandon can't
finish it. I wanted to.
I know you did. It's such a failure. Well, anyway, that has been our review of Save Yourselves. Go out and watch it, and then tell us what you thought about it. Ryan, want to tell them where they can find us again?
Yep. Definitely let us know what you think of the movie and the review in the comments. Also, we are on Instagram at CiNEMACHiNE. We're always talking movies there. So give us a follow and hit us up. And then obviously hit the subscribe button on YouTube and the bell so you are notified when we've got new content.
There you go. And also make sure you check in for when we are live and everything so you can comment live while we're there. You can chat right with us and you all can just tell me how much you hate me, tell everybody else how much you love them. I'm used to it at this point. So, hey, my mom does it. Why not? So everybody, thanks for tuning in to CiNEMAChiNE. Until next time, please continue to watch a lot of
Let's go ahead and
movies.
say bye before we cut this off. Bye.
I've like got my mouse on the outro, so when Al has both his hands up and I know he's not ready to actually click it.
We'll see you on the next CiNEMAChiNE.
So long.
There, you got to say bye this time.